Happy Monday. Happy Monday to those of you that are on Instagram. Isha Cakes and More. So glad that you're here this morning. Good to see you. Give me a thumbs up in the comments so that I know you're hearing me. Love it. Marlene J, good to see you this morning. Rob C, good to see you this morning. All right, we got quite a few people hanging out on LinkedIn with us this morning. Do me a favor, if you are on LinkedIn, just say hey. Type what's up in the chat so that I can know that you are here and hanging with us this morning. Ooh, it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a fabulous and fantastic day. So glad that y'all are here this morning. I'm looking at myself in the camera, my little pinky up. Yes, it's gonna be good. Nina Bentley. Oh my gosh, you are in the heezy. So glad that you're here. Good to see you this morning. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Hey, how you doing? Robin Prescott, good to see you in the building this morning. Marjorie Benjamin, so glad that you're here. Oh, yes. So glad that you're all here. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. 15 minutes of motivation, elevation, and inspiration designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. Yes, yes, yes. We are here to start you off on a high this week. It's going to be a fantastic week, and we are here to set you up. So let me ask you a question. What's the biggest determinant of your day? What sets the tone for how you show up each day? We're gonna talk about that this morning. But before we jump on in, do me a favor. If you want to know when we're gonna go live, go ahead and text GO LIVE, GOLIVE, to 240-557-8679. That's 240-55-STORY. Text GO LIVE to that number and you'll get notified when we go live. Secondly, if you are a real estate professional and you want to learn a little bit more about showing up on video in an effective way, I want to talk to you about our Video Story Bootcamp. So text VSB to 240-557-8679. All right. We're going to talk about that this morning. Whew. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's do this thing. Come on, y'all. Let's get ready for the Monday Mindset Movement. Boom. We are here. My gosh, I am so glad to be with y'all once again. My goodness, it's a good thing to be alive and breathing and just it's fantastic. It's fantastic. This morning we're talking about the power of positive thinking, as Zig Ziglar used to say, not the power of stinking thinking. We're talking about the power of positive thinking this morning. And I just want to start out with my quote on the left here. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Norman Vincent Peale. I'll say that one more time. Do the thing that you fear, and death of fear is certain. Let me ask you all a question this morning. What's the first thing that you think about every morning? What is your first thought each morning? From the moment that you open your eyes, the very moment that your eyes open, maybe your eyes aren't even open yet. Maybe they're still closed, but you become aware. What is the first thing that you think? What's the first thing that you think about? I know some people will immediately get churchy, right? And my first thought is, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, and I'm not dismissing that. I'm not dismissing that at all. I want you to dig a little bit deeper, though. I want you to dig just a little bit deeper. I'm not talking about your first intentional thought. I'm talking about your first automatic thought. What is your first automatic thought each morning? Yeah, I'm giving you a moment of silence just to think about it. What is your first automatic thought? Mine, some of mine, here's some of mine. What's that buzzing sound? Oh my gosh. Right? I wear this Apple Watch to wake me up in the morning. Let me bring it closer so you can see, right? I wear an Apple Watch, and so it vibrates or it buzzes on my wrist during the morning. And some mornings, my first thought is, what's that buzzing? Or, sheesh, that alarm is loud. That may be a thought that I think. What's your thought? Tell me in the chat if you're writing in the chat this morning, what's the first thing that you think? All right. Robin says, I just want to lay here longer. Right? What is your first thought? Right? I sometimes think, is that bird always this close to the window? Or I might think sometimes, oh man, the car insurance comes out today. I've got kids and they've got licenses now, and yeah, our insurance is a little bit higher. But there was a time in my life that my thoughts were a little bit different, right? Oh man, I don't want to get up. Or today's gonna suck. Yeah. How many of you think that? Or I don't want to go to work today. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. How many of you think that? I don't want to life today. Those are some things that we think. Those are some things that go through our minds. Go ahead, be real with me. Share with me this morning. What are some of the things that you think when you first wake up? Youth Mentor, good to see you this morning. I.E. Spa, Kigali, glad you're here. Naomi, Kimesh, glad that you're here on Instagram this morning. What are you thinking? What do you think? I ask those questions because I want us to start thinking about, number one, what we think about automatically. Nina says she thinks about, what's my schedule today? Yeah. What's on my schedule today? That's a good one, right? I want us to start thinking about what we think about automatically, because if we can get to the core of that, or if we can be honest with ourselves or be aware of what we think about automatically, then we can change how we show up each day. Because as I asked at the beginning, what's the most important thing, or what drives how you show up each day? What drives your interactions or sets the tone for your day? Well, what does that is what you think. And is what you think beneficial? Is it helpful? Is it positive? We hear this stuff about positive mindset. You hear about self-help. You hear about positive psychology. Right? We've got a lot of speakers that speak about positivity and greatness. Right, Nina? Nina's a friend of mine, and she works with a great speaker. Right? I don't know if she wants me to put it out there or not. Right? But there are a lot of great speakers that speak about positivity, and there's a reason that they speak about it. Right? There's a reason that Les Brown speaks about it. There's a reason that Zig Ziglar speaks about it. There's a reason that Hal Elrod wrote the book, The Miracle Morning, to talk about positivity and the mindset in the morning. There's a reason for that. Why is positive mindset important? Well, here's the deal. We're taught positive mindset from an early age, but for some reason it doesn't always stick, because I guess lives, right? Stuff happens in our lives that takes us away from what was taught to us. So what we're taught from a kid, we remember that story from the train that was going up the hill that said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Positive mindset, right? If you read a Bible, the Bible has this verse in Proverbs that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if I'm thinking positive things, if I'm thinking great things, if I'm thinking good things, if I'm thinking amazing things, that's how I show up. If I'm thinking negative things, then that's how I show up too. So what are you thinking, and how do you show up from the first piece of the morning? How do you show up from the beginning of the day? We talked about Roger Bannister a couple of weeks ago, and Roger Bannister was that dude who broke the 4-minute mile. And in his space, in his world, for a long time, there were doctors that were telling people, the human body cannot break the 4-minute mile. The human body, the heart would explode. Our bodies are not built to take that type of exertion. And that was the message that was going on. If we had social media back in the day, then that was the message that was going out. All right, Nina saying go ahead and do it. Yes, Nina Bentley, y'all, works for Les Brown. Just all right. Nina's fabulous. I love Nina. Yeah. So doctors were saying that you could not break the 4-minute mile. If there was social media back then, all of the messaging would have been, nope, can't do it, impossible. But Roger Bannister, in his mind, thought that it was possible. And because he thought it was possible, he began to create a plan for it, right? His mental language never said, oh, this ain't going to happen. His mental language said, this is possible. There's a great book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And it talks about desire, and then it talks about organized planning. As you have a desire, and as your imagination begins to get involved, then you begin to put a plan together. And that's why we talk about positive thinking, right? Because the more that you do that, the more that you think positively, the more that you think possibility, the more that you think potential, the more that you believe that something can happen, then you begin to put some action behind it. And that's important, right? Because a lot of the things that we hear about these days, we hear about, manifesting. We hear about a lot of different things. We think about positive thinking, and people think that it's magic. People think that is magic. And one of the things that positivity is not magic. And I'll talk about this just a little bit later on. But when we think about how we move forward or how we show up each day, what is it that causes us to think positively or to have that ability to think positively? Part of the issue with our mindset is our environment, the people that we hang around. Who do you hang around, and what is their language like? Are you always hanging around with people that feel like they need to vent? And I get it. There are times where we need to get things off our chest. There are times where we need to vent. There are times where we need to release some stuff. But is that the norm? Is that the baseline? Is that what's always happening in your space? Are the people around you always venting? Are they always talking about what's wrong? Are they always talking about who didn't do what? Are they always looking for a scapegoat? Are they always looking to point the finger for somebody to blame? Are the people that you're hanging around like that? Is that what's in your space all the time? It can be hard, doggone near impossible to have positive thinking if that's your space. And then I don't want to only blame the environment, but I want us to be aware of ourselves. Even if I'm in an environment where there is negativity, how do I show up? What am I doing? What am I choosing? Am I speaking positivity or possibility? What am I speaking? What's your language like? Here's the thing, especially if you're in a negative environment, people are going to try to break you down from your possibility. I've been told, oh man, you're so optimistic. Oh man, you're always so positive. And it was not a compliment. What they meant was, oh my gosh, can't you just let us be mad? Can't you just let us have our pity party? We want to stay here. We like it here. We prefer it here. It's easier here. That's what they were saying to me. You're going to encounter people. You're going to encounter environments or spaces where your greatness is going to provoke their demons, right? Your goodness, your amazingness is going to uncover their insecurities. Your adventure is going to bother their safety zone. Right? You're going to be in those environments. And here's the thing that I want you to understand. When I talk about positive thinking, positivity or positive thinking isn't always easy. But there's some benefits. As a matter of fact, I want to bring up some medical evidence. Johns Hopkins expert Lisa Yannick said that people with a family history of heart disease who had a positive outlook were 1/3 less likely to have a heart attack or other cardiovascular event. Let's bring up some more. Another study said that people over 50 who had positive thoughts lived longer and had less stress-related inflammation. At Harvard University, the Chan School of Public Health, they did this study from 2004 to 2012 on 70,000 women. And here's what they came up with. 16% of the women who thought positively, who had a positive outlook, had a lower risk of dying from cancer. If you had a positive outlook, in this study, there was a 52% lower risk of dying from infection. There was also a 39% lower risk of dying from stroke. If you have a positive outlook, it's not just this thing that wakes you up and sets you off on a good tone or a good mood each day. It's this thing that has some physical and health implications. So there's some benefits from thinking positively, right? So how do we foster this? I mean, Robert, you're saying think positively, think good, think nice, there's some stuff that comes from this. How do you do this? Well, number one thing that you can do is be grateful. When you are grateful, when you have gratitude, it makes it much easier for you to think positively. There's this thing that we do with our family every week. Right, my faith background is Christian, and so we have worship sessions with our family. And for us, it's not just a time to honor God, or it's not just a time to honor our Creator. It's a time for us to get together as family, and we sit down in our living room. And I ask the question to my kids, I ask the question to myself, I ask the question to my wife, I ask all of us, what are you grateful for? And we go around a circle, and the rule is that you can't say the same thing somebody else said, right? And after we go around once, we'll go around another time. What are you grateful for? And you can't say the same thing somebody else said, and you can't say the same thing you said last round. We got to challenge ourselves. And sometimes we'll go 3 or 4 rounds. What are you grateful for? Because I want my family to get in this mindset of thinking about what they're grateful for. And not just, it doesn't have to be big things. It can be something simple. I'm grateful for the Pop-Tarts that I had earlier today. I'm grateful that the collard greens were good. I'm grateful that I was able to wash my hands. I'm grateful that I was able to walk without slipping on the floor. I'm grateful that there was sun outside today, that it was 65 degrees instead of 62 degrees. I'm grateful. I want my family to get in the practice of gratitude. Noah Wash, how you doing this morning? Are you practicing gratitude? Because if you practice gratitude, that fosters positive thinking. Yeah. I love what Nina is saying here in the chat. Your body hears everything you think and say. My gosh. Yeah. I love it. I love that. Right? So one of the ways to foster positive thinking is gratitude. Number 2 way that I want to share this morning is simply by smiling. Smile. I want you to take this on. I want you to decide. And smiling, for some people, it seems like it's automatic. Some people, it's a challenge because you got stuff going on in your space. You have stuff going on in your life, right? But I want to challenge you this week to decide that you're going to smile at least 10 times a day, whether you have a reason to or not. For some of y'all, that might mean you need to go in the mirror and just smile 10 times and get it out of the way for the day because you have a rough day ahead. Right? I want to challenge you to smile 10 times. I don't want you to count it. I want you to count it. Find 10 different times that you can smile. It may mean that you're walking down the street and you see some random person and you smile at them, right? Find a reason to smile. You open your refrigerator door and there's a bottle of almond milk right in the front. I'm going to smile because I've got some stuff. I've got some healthy stuff in front of me. My fridge is not empty. I'm smiling. Good. Find a reason to smile. Do 10 times. Okay. Third thing that I want you to do is I want you to find a reason to laugh. Laughter is that next level smile, right? Laughter is that next level smile. One of the things I do is I look for YouTube comedians once a day, and I look for a reason to laugh. You've heard in the past that laughter is the best medicine. You've got to be intentional about looking for it. Laughter doesn't always find you. Life is crazy. Life is busy. Life is it moves. It continues to move. And if you don't intentionally find ways to take care of life, life will accidentally find ways to take care of you. You've got to figure out how you want to move forward and be intentional about your steps, right? So find a reason to laugh. Third thing I want you to do is I want you to prioritize your physical health. I want you to prioritize physical health. Workouts are one of those big things where you get in the practice of positive thinking. Workouts are one of those things where you get into practice of say, one more. I can do just a little bit more. I can be stronger. I can run for 10 more seconds. I can do one more push-up. The more that you do that, the more that you prioritize your physical health, you also get in the habit of saying to yourself, I can do more. I can be stronger. I can be better. Yeah, there's going to be some failures inside of that. And you learn that with those failures, you can move forward. That's number 4. Fifth thing that I want you to do, I want to challenge you to do is achieve some goals. They don't have to be big goals. Achieve some goals in your life regularly. And then when you achieve them, celebrate them. One of the things I do with some of the small business owners that I work with, I ask them to celebrate. What do you have to celebrate this week? It could be something small. It doesn't have to be something big. I remember when I grew up in New York City, I would go to the bodegas or to the store, and in a lot of the stores, I would see on the wall behind the cashier or behind the owner, this frame. And inside that frame, inside that picture frame was a dollar bill. And it was the first dollar that they made. First dollar that they made. And it was a reminder to them of the first thing that they had to celebrate in their business. And so even if you have to celebrate the same thing over and over and over again, find a reason to celebrate. Find a reason to celebrate. Speak positively and do it often. Right? Sometimes we can get in the habit of saying negative things, and we can say things like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. Okay. And if you've never done it before, instead of saying that, say, this is an opportunity to learn something new. Right? Instead of saying it's too complicated, say, listen, I want to tackle this from a different angle. Instead of saying, and this is a big one, I don't have the resources or we can't afford it, start asking yourself, what ways can we make this happen? Reframe your language. All right? Instead of saying, I'm not going to get any better at this, say, I'll get better on the next effort. Instead of calling yourself names and saying, I'm too lazy to get this done, start saying, I couldn't fit it into my schedule right now, but I'm going to re-examine my priorities. I'm going to set some things up differently because I want to make this happen. Positive thinking, speak positively. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. It sets you up for the week. Man, I'm going over time. This is supposed to be 15 minutes. I'm like at 22, but that's all right. This is good stuff this morning. All right. Here's what positive thinking is not. And I want to reinforce this by putting this on the screen here. Positive thinking is not magic. Right? Positive thinking is not magic. Simply by me telling you to think positive, it doesn't mean that your life changes and only good things happen in your space. Even when there are bad things that happen, you still have the power to think positively. So positive thinking is not magic. Positive thinking is also not a substitute. Right? If you're sick, go to the doctor. if you need to take medication, take the medication. Positive thinking is not a substitute for proper medical care, for proper focus, for proper intent. Positive thinking is not a substitute. Okay? Positive thinking is also not accidental or automatic. Right? It's not a substitute for doing the work. It's not a substitute for using the wisdom and knowledge. And it's also not accidental or automatic. What positive thinking is is an intentional exercise that is the catalyst for taking your next best step. I'll say that once more, and I want you to read this on screen. Positive thinking is an intentional exercise that's the catalyst for you taking that next best step. So here's what I want you to do. I've given you 5 ways to foster your positive thinking this week. Gratitude, smiling, laughter, prioritizing physical health, and then celebrating your goals, right? When you achieve them. Here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to go a little bit deeper, and I want you to go back to the root. The first question that I asked you this morning was, what do you think about when you wake up? What's the first thought? I want you to do 3 things. That's 2 in my hands. I want you to do 3 things. All right. I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to place a notepad beside your bed for the next 7 days and capture that first thought. Whatever that first thing is that you think about when you wake up, I want you to write it down as soon as you wake up. Because I want you to capture this and I want you to see the patterns in yourself. I want you to develop an awareness. A lot of times we say, yeah, I'm going to do things, but we're not aware truly of how we actually behave. I want you to capture those thoughts and I want you to create awareness around it. Okay, so I want you to do that for the next 7 days. Place a notepad beside your bed and capture your first thought. And then on that same notepad, each evening before you go to bed, I want you to write down what you want to focus on and then read them out loud right before you go to bed. Okay, I want you to write down what you want to focus on and then read them out loud right before you go to bed. So first thing, place a notepad beside your bed and capture your first thought. Write that down for the next 7 days. Second thing, write down what you want to focus on and read them out loud right before you go to bed. Okay, I said there were 3 things. The third thing I want you to do, I want you to come back next week and report to me. Okay, I want you to come back next week and report to me. I want you to be a part of this community. As a matter of fact, if you have not yet joined the Monday Mindset Movement community, go to mondaymindsetmovement.com. Join that community there and start sharing with us what's happening in your brain and in your space. How are you doing with your positive thinking? All right? I want you to do that because this thing doesn't happen solo. Sustained success doesn't happen by itself or by yourself. It happens as you begin to gain accountability, as you begin to connect with others, as you begin to join and embrace community. Think positive. Embrace positive thinking. Remember, positive thinking is not accidental. It's an intentional exercise that is the catalyst for taking your next best step. Today is Monday, and we want to shift your mindset to a place of growth, but it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Be curious, make a choice, move, start a movement, be a movement. Join me next week, Monday, for the Monday Mindset Movement right here on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I just want to repeat Norman Vincent Peale, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. I'll see you next time. Peace. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.